Have you ever found yourself wondering if a narcissist might come back into your life? Let's dive deep. What warning signs did you notice, and how did you handle it? Share your experiences and strategies in the comments below. Your insights could help someone else navigate their own journey. Let's create a supportive community together. Thank you for joining me today as we explored the complex world of narcissism and the signs a narcissist might try to re-enter your life. Remember, your well-being is paramount. Set those boundaries and prioritize your self-care. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and share your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more insights and support on navigating these challenging relationships. Until next time, stay strong and prioritize your peace. Imagine this: you've just had another argument with your partner. They're a master at twisting your words, making you feel like everything is your fault, and somehow you end up apologizing. The worst part, you begin doubting yourself, questioning if you really are as overly sensitive as they claim. This may sound familiar to many who've been in a relationship with a narcissist. But what's even more surprising is how you might start adopting certain behaviors as a result, like constantly second-guessing your own thoughts or becoming hyper-aware of how others perceive you. These are common habits victims of narcissistic abuse develop, often without even realizing it. In today's video, we'll explore 5 surprising habits that can sneak up on victims of narcissism and how they impact their emotional and mental well-being. Before we dive in, I want to hear from you. Have you ever experienced behaviors like these, or do you know someone who has? Share your thoughts or your story in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you've gone through and how you've navigated it. And if you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss out on more videos that help you understand narcissism and how to heal from its effects. Let's get started. Number 1. Constantly apologizing even when they didn't do anything wrong. Imagine being in a relationship where no matter what you do, it feels like you're always at fault. Victims of narcissistic abuse often find themselves apologizing endlessly, even for things that aren't their responsibility. Narcissists are experts at shifting blame, making their victims believe they are the problem in every conflict. Over time, this creates a warped sense of guilt and responsibility in the victim's mind. They start to feel like they must apologize, not just to end the argument, but to avoid the narcissist's wrath or emotional withdrawal. It becomes a default response, an instinct that victims use to try and fix things even when they've done nothing wrong. This repeated apologizing can erode self-esteem and make them feel like they're always walking on eggshells. The problem with this behavior is that it trains the victim to suppress their own feelings, needs, and reality. They begin to believe that their emotions are invalid or that they're too sensitive when, in reality, they've been manipulated into accepting false blame. Narcissists thrive on this dynamic, using it as a control tactic to maintain power in the relationship. Over time, victims might even apologize for expressing their own thoughts, concerns, or desires because the narcissist has convinced them that their voice doesn't matter. This habit of over-apologizing can spill over into other areas of life, leaving victims feeling powerless and unable to assert themselves, even in situations that don't involve the narcissist. Understanding this behavior is key to breaking free from the cycle of manipulation and reclaiming personal confidence. Number 2. Second-guessing every decision. Have you ever found yourself paralyzed by indecision, unable to trust your own choices, even in the most straightforward situations? Victims of narcissistic abuse often experience this overwhelming uncertainty because narcissists are experts at planting seeds of doubt. Through constant gaslighting and manipulation, they make their victims question their reality, their judgment, and their worth. Every decision, whether it's something big, like a career change, or something small, like choosing where to eat, becomes an exhausting mental tug of war. Victims find themselves wondering, am I doing the right thing? Could I be wrong? The more this happens, the harder it becomes to make decisions without seeking validation from others, fearing the narcissist's judgment or retaliation. This constant self-doubt can seep into every aspect of life, stripping victims of their confidence and autonomy. Narcissists thrive on this behavior because it gives them control over their victims' thoughts and actions. As the victim starts second-guessing even the smallest choices, they rely more and more on the narcissist's opinions, creating a dangerous cycle of dependency. The victim may feel like they need permission to make decisions or constantly check in with the narcissist to ensure they're doing it right. Over time, this habit erodes their ability to trust themselves, leaving them stuck in a loop of confusion and fear. Breaking free from this pattern requires recognizing that your instincts are valid and learning to trust your own judgment again without the need for external validation. Number 3. Over-explaining everything. Have you ever caught yourself going into great detail just to clarify your thoughts or actions, even when it's not needed? For victims of narcissistic abuse, over-explaining becomes a survival mechanism. Narcissists are notorious for twisting conversations, invalidating feelings, or accusing their victims of being too sensitive or overreacting. As a result, victims feel the constant need to justify themselves, providing excessive details to avoid being misunderstood or criticized. Whether it's a simple request or expressing an opinion, they feel compelled to explain their every word or action, fearing that anything less might be misconstrued. This habit forms as a response to years of emotional manipulation, where even minor interactions are scrutinized and distorted. But over-explaining isn't just about avoiding conflict, it's also about seeking reassurance. Victims of narcissistic abuse often feel unheard or invisible, and their need to elaborate on everything stems from a deep desire to be understood and validated. Unfortunately, this habit doesn't bring peace, it only reinforces the cycle of self-doubt and anxiety. The more they over-explain, the more they become trapped in their own explanations, which never seem to be enough for the narcissist. Over time, this habit erodes their self-esteem, making them feel like they constantly need to prove their worth or justify their actions. The key to breaking free is learning that you don't owe anyone an explanation for your existence or your feelings, and that you are enough just as you are. Number 4. Isolating from friends and family. Have you ever felt like you're pulling away from the people who care about you the most, even when you need support the most? For victims of narcissistic abuse, isolation becomes a subtle but powerful tool of control. Narcissists often manipulate their victims into believing that their friends and family don't understand them, or worse, that they're a threat to the relationship. They use tactics like guilt-tripping, playing the victim, or creating drama to drive a wedge between their partner and their support network. Over time, the victim begins to believe the narcissist's narrative and withdraws from those who once provided emotional support, convinced that they're better off keeping their distance from loved ones. But the isolation isn't always forced, often it's self-imposed. Victims of narcissistic abuse can internalize feelings of shame, confusion, or fear, making them feel unworthy of support. The narcissist might make them believe they are the only one who truly understands them, leading them to rely entirely on the narcissist for validation. This behavior can spiral as the victim loses sight of their own identity and becomes more dependent on the toxic relationship. As a result, they begin to distance themselves from family, friends, and even colleagues, creating a dangerous emotional cocoon where the narcissist can continue to manipulate and control without interference. Breaking this isolation requires reclaiming a sense of self-worth and rebuilding those important connections, recognizing that no one, especially the narcissist, should isolate you from the people who care about you. Number 5. Seeking external validation. Constantly ever catch yourself constantly looking for reassurance or approval from others, even for the smallest decisions or actions? For victims of narcissistic abuse, this becomes a deeply ingrained habit. Narcissists are experts at undermining their victims' confidence, making them feel like they are never enough. Over time, victims begin to rely on external validation, whether it's from friends, family, or even social media, to feel seen, valued, and worthy. They find themselves constantly seeking praise or approval to fill the emotional void left by the narcissist's criticism and emotional neglect. The need for validation becomes so strong that they may even base their self-worth on the opinions of others, fearing rejection or judgment if they don't receive constant affirmations. This habit doesn't just stop with friends and family, it can extend to every area of life. Victims might check social media obsessively, fishing for likes and comments, or constantly ask for feedback from colleagues and loved ones to gauge their worth. The narcissist's manipulation makes them feel like they're invisible or insignificant without that external validation, and they become stuck in a cycle of seeking approval to feel secure. Unfortunately, this external validation is often fleeting and never truly satisfies their inner need for self-acceptance. Breaking free from this habit requires reclaiming self-worth from within, learning to validate your own feelings, decisions, and existence without depending on others for affirmation. True self-confidence comes from understanding that your value isn't dependent on anyone else's approval. So, there you have it, -5 surprising habits of a victim of narcissistic abuse. If any of these behaviors sound familiar, it's a sign that you're not alone and that healing is possible. Remember, recognizing these habits is the first step towards reclaiming your power and breaking free from the toxic cycle. If this video resonated with you, don't forget to like, comment, and share it with others who might need to hear this message. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on more valuable insights that can help you heal and grow. You're stronger than you think, and your journey to recovery starts now.